Welcome back. So, I'm not sure if this is your first time chancing upon my channel, because it might be your first time entangling in this mess called a gacha war drama, right? Regarding gacha game content creators, specifically with myself, as well as another individual called Santondes. I'm going to assume that you probably did not watch my content before because Legal Mindset has made a video to kind of address and provide fast facts on the MrPokke versus Santondes copyright battle. So the objective of this content that we're going to be doing today is to clear up any possible doubts that you might have, especially considering Mr. Legal Mindset has never reached out to me a single time throughout this entire course of this chain of events. And for someone that's making this game literally called Fast Facts, right? I think it is very important that facts should be presented, right? So without further ado, let's just jump into what we have right here today. And yes, right? Look at that transition, bro. I have taken the liberty to watch the entire video from Legal Mindset talking about the fast facts within Santondes as well as myself and how this is going to be taking place, and just addressing a couple of things that he may or may not know or understand, because frankly speaking, I'm guessing Legal Mindset only got his opinions from either Santondes, Tactone, or whichever the community is going to be, because he definitely did not gain anything from my perspective, right? So without further ado, let's go right here, right? So here are his opening statements, right? MrPokke and Santondes are YouTube creators in the gacha space. Gacha is spelled without a T, but it is what it is. This is agreeing over the new game, Arc Knights Enfield. MrPokke mocked Santondes in the Art of Gacha War, to which Santondes responded with the tragic downfall of MrPokke. MrPokke then strikes Santondes on YouTube, releases the tragic downfall of Santondes' career. This was quite recent, by the way. This is quite recent. It doesn't really have anything to do with this current situation, which is Art of Gacha War. But to kind of summarize a little bit, right? The plaintiff, based on Mr. Legal Mindset, is MrPokke, a Singaporean gacha content creator who issued the copyright strike. The defendant, Santondes, or he's gonna be labeling as Saint, whose video was removed. And then the cause for this was intense disagreements over the game Arc Knights Enfield. And in the videos, MrPokke released the Art of Gacha War where I mocked Santondes. He responded with a 1 hour 22-minute reaction / rebuttal, and then I striked against Santondes' response video. So that is what he said, right? That's based on what Legal Mindset said. So here are some clarifications as well as some things for your considerations as well. First of which, this is false, by the way. The intense disagreement over the game Arc Knights Enfield, it is completely wrong. It is not about Arc Knights Enfield, but it is with a systematic defamation and attack on myself and my branding for over 25 videos in the course of this entire year. You can check out all of my previous content to kind of see who this individual Santondes really is like, and it's not just for me, it is for numerous other content creators, right? So that's number one. Number two, mocking Santondes with my Art of Gacha War, right? This is also false, because in my entire Art of Gacha War video, you can scream through the entire transcripts, I did not mention Santondes' name a single time. Sure, I use his face as a thumbnail for a couple of seconds here and there, but the video was not about Santondes. It is addressing how these gacha tribalism tactics has been manufacturing across the different gacha game communities. If you heard of these games like Genshin Impact, right, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone, all these gacha games, they fundamentally always have these group of people which will display gacha tribalism. That was the purpose of this video and not about Santondes. Now, the copyright strike against his response video. This is probably where the framing is wrong from Legal Mindset's perspective, because it was not to silence Santondes, right? But it's because he directly stole, right? Steal and damage my product by reacting to it almost at 100% and uploading within 12 hours of my upload time on top of multiple bad faith arguments. I'm not sure if Santones ever told you throughout the entire video, he called me the R word, right? He called my editors the R word, right? He called my church, my audience the R word, and all those kind of bad faith arguments, but we are gonna be able to provide context right here today. Now, moving on to the next one, the demands and responses, right? So based on Mr. Legal Mindset, I issue an ultimatum demanding Santones a public apology, the deletion of all videos mentioning myself, which is gonna be MrPokke, and a permanent cease and desist from Santones ever speaking about MrPokke ever again, where Santones counterfiled a former DMCA notification and hired H3 or Ethan Klein's lawyer to write that letter, right? And the escalation is, I have publicly committed to a real lawsuit claiming no mercy and that I hired a Singaporean lawyer, right? So this is gonna be the demands and responses. So here is what really happened, right? My demands right here on this tweet, it has absolutely nothing to do with the copyright strike, right? The copyright strike, it is to protect my product as a content creator from someone maliciously reacting and stealing my content. Every single step along the way in the past 2 weeks, I have given Santones options to de-escalate, take accountability, to which he either ignored or he weaponized. You can literally see him streaming the very next day when he said he wanted a peaceful resolution. He calls me a gacha terrorist on all 3 platforms, YouTube, Kick, as well as Twitch. Right, to say that I did not want a resolution out of this, there's only one party that does not want it. And that's not gonna be me, right? So my demand on this X over here, right, this statement, it is not blackmail. It is not. I'm not forcing Santones to, because frankly speaking, he can ignore it completely, right? It doesn't really matter. But the strike itself, it is still fundamentally me protecting my product from someone that outright is just stealing, right? It's like, for example, right, if Santones stole an apple, right? I'm an apple tree farmer, right? He stole an apple from me, right? He steals my apple. He eats my apple. He tries to sell this apple to his little audience. And like, oh my god, Chad, this apple sucks. The apple that I stole from, it sucks. Actually, this guy is his editors are his order just goes on and on and on and on. So like for this particular instance, I think it's gonna be a little bit obvious to see why this copyright strike happened and whether or not you think it's going to be in good faith or in bad faith, right? Now, moving on into the next segment, and that is going to be the jurisdiction and region issues, right? So this is basically where Legal Mindset thinks I'm going to be at a disadvantage because YouTube is, at the end of the day, under US jurisdiction, right? It is going to be a US company and it's going to be a US federal law. So if I do want to consent to jurisdiction, I have to consent to the US. So this is going to be whatever this state is going to be from. And then I have an issue probably assumed by Legal Mindset, where MrPokke allegedly hired a Singaporean lawyer. But a Singaporean judgment cannot be enforceable for YouTube. It has to be a US lawyer, right? It has to be filed in the US federal court, to which this is correct. I will be pursuing action based on the US judicial system. And it literally just takes you 5 seconds. Just ask me, bro. Just ask, right? Just ask me and I will gladly tell you. But you didn't, right? I did not hire a Singapore lawyer, and it would have literally been so easy for you to just ask me this and you would not have went on this entire debacle. And I have counsel from a full US legal team specializing in copyright laws. They are not from Singapore. They are based in the US. So essentially, as of this point, from the moment of the counterclaim, I have 10 US business days to file legal action against Santones. And this is probably going to be either the 3rd or 4th of March, depending on the time zone, right? So that is probably the timeline I'm going to be working with. And I kind of just want to say this, by the way. Did you guys know that because Santones is from the US, it's actually easier for me for this entire debacle? Because if Santones was not in the US, this means that he would have to be extradited from another country to bring into US judicial system. But if Santones is from the US, theoretically speaking, if I filed my content with the US Copyright Office, and if this was to go into federal court, do you think it will be easier or more difficult for the US federal court to issue its sentence on a US resident. Food for thought, right? Food for thought. Now, moving on next. This is gonna be very, very interesting. So this is where legal mindset uses fair use analysis. I think first of all, I think he also mentioned it in his video. This is not legal advice. This is not legal counsel. This is just purely his opinion, right? He feels this way, right? He feels it. Even though he's a lawyer or not, he feels this way, where we are going to be splitting this into the four main things. Commentary and criticism, right? The law protects the right to critique others. 100% true, right? There's no such thing. You can't say anything negative about someone else. This is factual. Transformative work. Santona's added a 82 minutes of commentary on a 20-minute video, which leans toward fair use. And then market replacement, there's little evidence that Santona's video was intended to replace the original. It was framed as a rebuttal to my copyright strike. And lastly, the verdict on fair use by Mr. Legal Mindset. The factors appear to lean in favor of Santones, right? I will not be discussing the case that I've been building with my lawyers because it is looking very, very nice. But I'll just show a little bit of samples that I have as of right now for you guys to kind of think about it for yourselves, right? Number one, Santones uploads almost 100% of my content, almost, right? Maybe not entirely, but almost 100% within 12 hours. 12 hours. So by releasing a full-length content upload during my peak rent, because if you guys know YouTube, your first 24 to 40 hours is at a time when the algorithm will pick up, right? It will start leaning towards this thing called a predatory market substitution, especially when we are sharing a very similar market demographic, which is gonna be gacha game audience, right? It's like if Santones was like a political streamer, right? If Santones was like making like marketing for like food, right? Maybe he's like a travel, he's like an IRL vlogger, right? That would be very, very different. But we are basically all coming from the same market demographic, right? So that's number one. And number two, this video that he made, right? This video that he uploaded 39 minutes ago. So I took this screenshot at the time of this recording. He made this from his live stream. Which means the time of copyright infringement actually happened even before this 12 hours. Because where do you think this video came from? He didn't just watch it off stream and make his PowerPoint slides and make like a notes and make a script. No, bro. He watched it live on stream. And then he used the footage from his live stream to make it into a subsequent video. So if this video came out within 12 hours, when do you think this live stream happened? Food for thought. All right. Next.
React like MrPokke to this piece.
Hold up.
React like MrPokke.
So this is gonna be some of the examples that I've actually procured during the reaction, which is his habitual pattern of bad faith arguments going against fair use critique commentary. So for example, if you're gonna say, okay, you know what? I believe that the ad hominem strawman critics over here is wrong because blah 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 blah. It is what it is. But if you say things like this,
that's rough. And the only people that could believe whatever's being peddled over here are literally retarded children. But then you take a look at MrPokke's channel, right? You take a look at his thumbnails, and he kind of is appealing to retarded children. Yeah, like the thumbnail design, like, look at this. Like, he's really going for that Genshin rated G audience right there with that one. You already know.
Or this.
The thing is, this just leads me to believe that Pokke's retarded and his entire editing team is retarded. Because if you weren't retarded, you'd be able to identify there's a literal fallacy in this video and you wouldn't have published it. But the entire squad is like averaging room temperature IQ in Antarctica.
Or this.
Okay, this piece. Oh, oh my god, what is he doing over here? Oh, he's just pretending to be saying tontas. Oh my god.
MrPokke, and I'm here to explain why Arknight's Enfield has the worst gacha in history that will lead to its
No,
EOS.
Arknight's Enfield is the best gacha in history. I'm getting my entire community to donate to the Pokke Corp. Yes, sirree, the Pokke Corp is gonna be spending thousands.
So, what do you think is the fair use critique in some of these clips over here? Because the last time that I'm aware of, calling myself, my editors, my audience, the R word, it doesn't really seem to hold any real value when it comes to critique, does it? So, also another photo, which I'm guessing legal mindset also just didn't know, right? Once again, I'm going to this with like 100% good faith that legal mindset is just simply unaware. He doesn't know what's the situation. So here I am to clarify the situation that you're gonna be knowing. So if he did react, right? I'm saying if Santones, the good ending, right? If Santones did react to my content and take portions of my video to substantiate his claim, which would not be possible on a live stream, right? You will actually have to put in the time to work, right? Construct your points, take a clip here and there, and okay, he said this, here's why he's wrong, and it's not leading towards, okay, he's a retard, or all that kind of stuff, right? Then it will be a very, very, very different kind of outcome that we'll be seeing today. So, at this point, we are kind of coming to our closing thoughts right here, right? Mr. Legal Mindset, I have not been aware of, like, what kind of circumstances you were in, right? I know you kind of cover a couple of drama regarding the tag tone and all that kind of stuff, right? But you could have easily reached out to me at any point of time, all right? If you are gonna be making a video that's literally gonna be called Fast Facts, right? Hold up. Whoa. If you are literally gonna be making a video called Fast Facts, wouldn't it be nice to do something called due diligence as a lawyer? I think that is like the bare minimum, right? Due diligence for Fast Facts. If you are gonna be saying like, okay, you don't want to do Fast Facts, you are supporting Santones, you don't want to be neutral, then it is what it is. I don't really care, right? But if you are gonna be presenting your grounds as someone that is neutral and making this video called Fast Facts, wouldn't it be nice if you just ask me exactly what's going on, or at least gain some sort of perspective from anyone else except from just one source as a lawyer, right? Because you are a lawyer, right? So this is the final thing I want to address, which is, these are your own words. The biggest problem is, I can't watch the video that got struck live because Pokke would strike that LOL. Legal Mindset. You are literally a lawyer. Alright, you are a lawyer, right? If you are a lawyer and you understand how fair use works, right? You understand how fair use works, right? Do you think it would have been potentially possible if you wanted to watch my POV, right? If you want to watch my side of the story off stream, do a little bit of background research, understand the situation, instead of just saying, oh shit, I'm not gonna be watching MrPokke because he's gonna strike me. I think that is a little bit disingenuous, but I'll leave it to the viewers to decide on what exactly the situation. And with that, oh shit, yes, I just realized I did not get poll roast. Oh, I did. And with that, I'm gonna be ending this very, very quick little video addressing the allegations from Legal Mindset. All other things regarding this case, like I mentioned, it is happening, right? It will be happening. It is not some Singaporean whatever thing is gonna be a problem. And when the case is gonna be developing going forward, then we'll see what's up, right? So to close off this entire thing, Santones has summoned Tactone, right? He has summoned Nicholas Light, all right? He has summoned, at this point, I'm guessing, Legal Mindset, right? I don't know who else he's gonna summon. Maybe he will try to summon Asmongo, right? Maybe he's gonna be summoning Asmongo. Whoever Santones summons to do the battle, right? At the end of the day, it really just doesn't really matter, because in the court of law, those people are not gonna be there. The only one that can reach the settlement or the judgment is either you or me.